Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another average review. We're continuing the Spider-Man review week today with the Spider-Man Retro carded Daredevil. Now, Daredevil isn't necessarily a Spider-Man character, but they've crossed paths plenty of times, and hey, this is on the Spider-Man Retro card, so I think he fits. Now, looking at this figure, it's definitely an unusual Daredevil costume. If it isn't obvious enough, this was an armored look introduced in the 1990s. One of the first changes made to Daredevil's costume in, about 30 years. It was controversial at the time, made fun of today, but hey, I actually like this figure a whole lot. The black bodysuit is sleek, and I love the metallic red paint used for the red sections of armor. The silvers also add a nice bright pop compared to the dark reds and blacks. I like these armored silver bits on the legs to break up the reds and blacks, and same goes for the shoulder pads and wrist bracelets. This red pattern on the lower arms looks really cool, and there's also painted armor right here on the back. We can see that some of the red continues up to the helmet, and although this is a pretty standard looking Daredevil head sculpt, albeit painted black with red eyes, I think this is actually new, and this goes for, well, just about the entire body. It may be based on another Marvel Legends body mold, but there's been plenty of new sculpting done for the armor and other bits and bobs that I definitely think it might be original. Now, let's move on to articulation, where this guy is actually pretty standard. He's got a disc hinge at the neck, which allows him to look up, down, and spin his head around. He's got an ab crunch that gets him down this far, and back not so far. He's got arms that can spin around and raise up. Not actually that limited by the shoulder pads, but definitely are limited. Can't really get up to 90 degrees. Bicep swivel, double jointed arms, and wrists that can spin around and hinge up or down. He's got a cut at the waist that gets him some spin, legs that can kick forward about 90 degrees, and get a very decent split. He's got a thigh cut, which allows his legs to rotate like so. Unfortunately, this breaks up some of the silver armoring. He's got double jointed knees with a decent bend, and feet that can hinge forward. Well, it's fighting me, so you know what, I'm not going to fight back, but they can hinge backwards too, and pivot side to side. Now let's move on to the figure comparisons, starting off with our standard male and female body bucks, Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and Spinneret. But hey, it's Spidey week, so let's do some more Spidey comparisons. Here he is with Amazing Fantasy 15 Spider-Man on the left, and the Vulture 2-pack Ultimate Spidey on the right. But for some final Spidey comparisons, here's Daredevil with the No Way Home Final Swing Spidey on the left, and the poorly aged Toy Biz Urban Legends Spidey on the right. If you haven't checked it out yet, I actually made a video comparing the No Way Home Spidey here to the Renew Your Vows Spidey. Might want to check that out if you're interested. But speaking of the Urban Legends box set, here's Daredevil with the Daredevil from that same box set, and the Elektra from there too. That Daredevil is so close to being a good classic Daredevil, his shoulders are just way too big. That Elektra, though, it's a far step from a halfway decent figure. But hey, let's show some Toy Biz figures that I actually do kind of like. Being Punisher from that same Urban Legends box set, and Bullseye from the Marvel Legends Galactus wave. But hey, if we're talking about Daredevil villains, we gotta bring out the Spider-Man Retro card Kingpin. Kingpin may have started out as a Spider-Man villain, but I'd say Frank Miller's run definitely cemented him as Daredevil's greatest foe. Oh yeah, Daredevil fought Ultron one time. It was a thing that happened in the comics. It was really weird. So here's the Marvel Legends Ant-Man Quantumania Ultron. But let's move on to some of Daredevil's heroic allies, starting off with the invincible Iron Man. On the left, we have the Walgreens exclusive Silver Surfer, and on the right, we have the 90s modular armor. During Frank Miller's Daredevil run, Iron Man briefly showed up in his Silver Centurion suit, and also I'm bringing out the modular one since they're 90s redesigns of these characters. But Iron Man wasn't the only hero that appeared during that scene, as Captain America was there too. So here's two versions of classic Cap. One on the left is the Toy Biz Face-Off Captain America, and the one on the right is the Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary version. For an ally of Daredevil that appeared during Frank Miller's run, here we have Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow. On the left, we have the Target exclusive superposable version, and on the right, we have the gray-suited Black Widow, which seems, that seems a bit contradictory, but hey, that's the costume she appeared in during Frank Miller's run, so... Although let's also bring in some big guys, being the 80th anniversary Thor on the left, and the Hulk on the right. This is the Maestro body with the 20th anniversary head. Pretty much every Marvel Legends Hulk is on the same body, so it doesn't matter. Although if we're talking about Marvel heroes written by Frank Miller, we gotta bring up Wolverine. These are the X-Force and Old Man Logan versions. Sure, they aren't really the versions written by Frank Miller, but basically all Wolverine bodies are the same, so if I show you these two, you know what they'd all look like. Although, we gotta end these comparisons off with Hit Monkey and Goliath, as usual. Now for the accessories, we've got some standard ones and a couple ones that aren't so standard. As you might have seen in the beginning of the video, he comes with his two batons, but they actually connect together to form a single larger baton. That's pretty neat. Once you remove the hand, you might notice that these little pieces of wrist armor are actually removable, and there's a reason for this. As he comes with two extra pieces of wrist armor that have the baton stuck to him. In addition to the accessory holding hands he's had on throughout the video, he also comes with a pair of fists, which I think pairs nicely with these alternate bracelets. He also comes with this pretty cool alternate Matt Murdock head. If anyone's wondering, this also works fairly well as an unmasked Scott Summers head for Cyclops. Just note that the hair is red instead of Cyclops' brown. Overall, I'm a big fan of this Daredevil. It's a very unique look and one of the few figures made of this design. If you're wondering about prices, well, it varies on eBay. I've seen it range from about $22 to $40. I believe, though, that I got mine loose for $20-ish. If you can get a good deal on this Daredevil for, say, $20, I'd say, if you like this design, of course, spring on it. But I'm gonna guess most of you aren't crazy about the 90s armored Daredevil. In terms of actual issues with the figure, well, you can see here on the arms that since they're pinned instead of pinless, there's a black dot where the red pattern is. Also, for a character like Daredevil, his posing is pretty limited, mainly in the arms and shoulders. A lack of any kind of butterfly joint really does hurt a character like Daredevil. But overall, for what this figure is, and being, in my opinion, the only truly decent Daredevil figure in my collection, I'd give this guy an 8 out of 10. See you next time, have a good day, and I hope you tune in for tomorrow's Spider-Man related review.